No, it's only rock and roll, but I like it. Yeah, it's the rock and roll show of Come to Your Senses with Carlos Jaime. Thank you. Well.
Who are you thanking?
I'm thanking me, buddy.
All
right. Just keep it easy. Keep it easy. Already talking. Oh boy.
There's a little bit of a Wolfman Jack in that.
Yeah, really, Wolfman Jack.
Little bit.
I hope. Little. Oh gosh. All right, everybody, coming at you. That's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna do that. I can't wait to do my own radio show. Oh man,
You're doing it right now.
Yeah, I know, but radio with real music.
Yeah, he's talking real radio though, like where it's live. It's live. You know?
Like, all right, everybody, come on, we gotta look through. One of those.
What?
Like, I'm gonna talk like that.
Are you gonna introduce gibberish bands?
Yeah. Oh yeah. You know what? If ELO, that is a gibberish band. If you ask me.
ELO, baby.
ELO.
My favorite DJ story he told me was the guy, he started playing a song. He's like, yeah, I'm going to play this song off of Dark Side of the Moon. And then he fell asleep and he played the entire album.
Yeah, he played the whole side. And then you just hear like...
at the end for like an hour.
Yeah.
But with Pink Floyd, I think you'd kind of just be like, oh, shit.
Yeah.
They released a new version.
It's like one song. I could have... That's like a 40 minutes of just one.
That's funny that it's like, I'm going to play Shine On, You Crazy Diamond.
Right.
And then he plays it. It just goes on and on.
The whole thing.
That's funny because I was watching TCM and they played the whole Wizard of Oz.
Oh, no.
They just fell asleep.
What were they thinking?
Yeah.
Well, you already heard him, guys. You already heard him. Let me introduce my guest, a very special guest,
really?
Of course. Yes.
Do you say that to all of us?
No.
All of us guests?
Yeah. Well, they are very special. But you especially. But more importantly, Mark Saul, thank you.
Oh, I go first.
Yes, the very talented Mark Saul, musician.
I won't argue with that.
Which is perfect for the show.
Right.
True.
Actor, been in many things with Grey's Anatomy, correct?
Yeah, you've done your research.
All that. He was a
about
kid. He was a
halfway.
kid actor. He was actually a kid actor that made it. Didn't fuck around. Didn't die.
No.
It's not boxing anybody. Like Danny Bonaducci.
Right.
He's actually making a living. Has a beautiful wife.
Yeah.
Maybe a beautiful baby in the way. I don't know. Just saying. You never know. Just saying.
Well, no, you do know.
Well,
I know. I know we don't.
Well, okay. I'm just
Mark
saying.
said you've had a pretty good, The Social Network.
Oh yeah. He's been in shitloads of stuff.
Yeah, and the new movie that you're in, I'm looking forward to seeing. Even though it's not exactly about a train, but I'm looking forward to seeing you in it.
Redline, the movie.
And
yeah.
it's light rail, but I'm still looking forward.
What
to
is
it.
light rail?
It's
guess
a
that's-
subway,
Oh, okay. That's
or
what
like the BART. That's light rail.
I love how that's light. What to compare to heavy rail, which is like a normal
It's not
train.
a regular train. Yeah, you can't consider it like.
But it's on a
normal train.
track.
I have
It's on
a
a
couple
track.
heavy rail DVDs.
Oh, really? That's a good band. That's a good band. Well, that right there is my special guest, a guy who I've been podcasting for over 4 years.
I know.
200 episodes.
200 episodes with the second column.
Which I've been podcasting with too.
Right. Well, I already mentioned that.
Calm
but
down.
we had Joe Donatelli on for episode 5. And now let me introduce you, Sean fucking Kearney.
Goddamn right.
Yeah.
And let me tell you what excites me is that unlike Joe Donatelli,
Yes.
I didn't have to fucking whine to get on this podcast.
No. Right.
You just invited me.
Well, yeah. I mean, why not?
That's how it works.
Why
What
not?
Joe didn't whine to get on this show is the Fort podcast with Ed and Kevin. And
But he didn't whine in general. He didn't whine.
Nah.
to get
Yeah,
on
that's
one.
true.
No,
Yeah.
but he wrote Ed an angry letter
Yeah.
and then wrote an angry letter on
Completely
his,
distasteful.
yeah.
Right. Well-
Distasteful.
I thought it was great. I was laughing all the way.
Well, what are you gonna do?
I was
That's
wholly
it.
against it. from
Podcasting
beginning
is a big game, guys.
Apparently.
big time.
Yeah.
No, we've
Big
all
time.
made a shitload of money from it.
Made
so.
shitload. Trust me.
That's why That's why I gave up.
Oh yeah, that's right. Well.
Well,
That's
you're
okay.
on a podcast now. You're on
I
a
know.
gaming podcast,
I
which
gave
is
up on
very
you.
good.
I gave
by
up
the way.
on you guys.
What's your
Alright.
podcast, Sean? What's
I'm
the
on a
pod-
podcast right now called Nerdtastic.
which is really
in
cool.
3D.
Nerdtastic in 3D.
Nerdtastic in 3D.
And it's you
Look it up on the
videotape. You
iTunes.
videotape. It's
We do
actually in video,
videotape it.
yeah. And I've seen
I
it on
did not
YouTube.
realize
It's
that at
very
first,
good.
but
It's a very
yeah.
good show.
You didn't realize that they
I
videotaped
didn't.
it?
No. They're-
So they have you.
Let me tell you
They have
why.
you masturbating as you're talking.
Yeah,
Oh, it's so
they
shameful.
told
What
me
were
they
you doing?
Filming. No, there's a little tiny camera. They have a very small, what looks like a point and shoot camera that actually shoots all the video. And I saw them set it up during the first episode, and I had listened to it on iTunes. I had never listened to it on YouTube. And there was a YouTube link that was sent out like on the Facebook page, but I didn't check that. I just went to iTunes.
Okay.
And so anyways, they have this camera set up, and after one of the shows, I'm like, oh, I bet what it's doing is every like 5 minutes taking another picture. And then they can use that to like post pictures. I didn't really think anything about it, and then it turns out that they actually videotape the whole thing.
Well, they do it well
that's
too,
cool.
because I mean, it's like 7 or 8 of you guys. I mean, it's a large podcast. There's a lot of
about
people on the
7 of
show.
us.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh.
And I mean, to film all you guys, it's cool though. It's good.
Yeah.
It's check it out.
All right, I will. No,
Right now.
right. Yeah.
No,
check
we're
it out.
Can we
Go on
listen to
right
one?
now.
Do you have
You
a
got-
clip?
press
Did you bring
pause.
it
Can
up?
you put it through
Press
this
pause right now. Check out the Nerdtastic one
In 3D.
3D.
Yeah.
And then come back to it right now.
It's not really in 3D. It's actually in 1D.
1D
Because it's just audio.
But it's
well,
just
no,
an-
2D because it's on the YouTube.
right. There you go.
2D.
Well, good. Well, Kearney, I can't
Hi,
believe
man.
it. We reunited. We it's like the Ringo Starr and George Harrison, because this is the rock and roll
Reunited at
episode right
last,
now. Yeah.
And it feels so good. I don't know the melody. That
That's
song.
all right. No, it's fine. Well, well, you were telling me that something happened to you.
Oh my
'Cause
god!
that's one
Something
thing.
happened to you?
Something happened to you on the way to work, right?
Yes.
You were mentioning, and you said you wanted to save it. Because one thing Kearney is good at is telling an animated
Telling it.
story.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can almost picture it.
Tell us the tale.
I have an anecdote, everybody.
Yeah, let's hear it.
Let's hear
This is 100% true, and I know that by the time you listen to this, it may be past Halloween, but this is a spooky tale.
Oh boy.
So I park in a big, giant like parking garage, like kind of like when you park at like a mall or something. Right? There's like multiple floors, and so I pulled my car up to work today, right? And I kind of had to circle around and around. There weren't a lot of parking spots because I was a little late. And so I got to the top floor, which is the 5th floor, before the roof, I guess. There's also a roof. And I went, and there was like not too many cars left, and I pulled in next to a car, right? So I get out of my car, and I get all my stuff together, and I just kind of glance over the car as I'm leaving, and I realize that the lights are still on in this car.
Whoa.
And I go, "That's strange."
Someone having sex.
Who knows?
Yeah.
Nobody.
I'm assuming.
Nobody in the car. Lights are on. I know.
Clearly, someone left the lights on.
Whoa, you would think. So I take a picture of the car's license plate, and I get back to my desk, and I write an email to like the facilities group at work, and I just go, "Hey guys, that's I use an old timey gong."
That's our new sound effects.
But I realize, I mean, I write an email. I go, "Hey guys, I saw this car with this license plate. It's on the 5th floor, and its lights are still on.
Yeah.
If you guys want to like send out some big email, because I didn't know whose the car was. There's like hundreds of people working my building
Right.
now. So anyways, day goes on, and about like 2-3 o'clock, I have to go back to my car to grab some chapstick because my lips are getting a little chapped. Not really important for the story.
And
But
you don't actually keep it with you; you just keep it in your car.
I don't want to talk about that.
All right, Mike. Please.
So I walk all the way back up to my car, and I grab my chapstick, and then I look over at that car, and the lights are off. And I'm like, all right, maybe the lights turned off. But I'm like, did facilities send out an email that I didn't get, and they found the person and had them turn off their lights, or did this person's battery die?
or the
don't know.
person could have came back realizing, hey,
Realized on their
yeah,
own.
right.
So I look in the car window, I don't know, for no reason. Like it's daylight, I can see right in. I didn't
Right.
peer in, but as I look in, the keys to the car still in the ignition.
What?
It was probably a woman driving the car because her purse was on the passenger seat with her cell phone still in it. I think she was murdered.
Wow.
Oh my god.
Wow.
So I rushed back to my office.
Or she could have,
Probably not known.
have
What
this-
else could have happened?
she could be having sex in another car.
Or she had to
someone
run to the bathroom.
else. Yeah, that might.
But
Yeah.
it's 3 o'clock by now. If she had to run to the bathroom, she would have come back, gotten the keys out
So
of her stupid car.
she didn't realize she left all that stuff in there, and the battery died.
What are you talking? Like, who doesn't realize that they
boy.
left their keys in their ignition and their purse? And here's the kicker:
Somebody's
when I
having a
left
stressful
tonight,
day.
when I left tonight, car was gone. And
Well, what is
I
your
called
hypothesis?
security. My hypothesis, because it's
Sis,
only
yeah.
singular. I only have one. is that she was murdered.
Oh, okay.
And I think that what happened was she was getting out of her car for the day. Or for the morning. She pulled up to work, right? Maybe she cut somebody off. Maybe she pissed him off. I don't know. She pulls it up, goes all the way up to the top floor. These people are following her. She's like, what am I going to do? She knows the next floor. That's the roof. She doesn't want to jump off the roof. So she's like, I'm going to make a run for it. So she parks her car. And the second she opens her door, 2 masked men jump out of the white van with no windows that she'd cut off, grab her, throw her in the car, snap her neck, throw in a dumpster that I couldn't see. And I called security and told them, not this story. I didn't want to. But I told them what I had
so much
seen.
fun if they told that. They would have been like, fuck.
Yeah. And I think they towed her car away because they don't want anyone to know how unsafe it is at my work.
She must be, you know what? I bet you anything.
She's dead.
She probably forgot her chapstick that she probably used it at her desk. And she went back and her fucking car was towed because of your ass.
Great. The only
job,
explanation.
John.
Tell me about
Way
that.
to go.
I understand, I've maybe left the keys in my ignition once or twice, right? But the thing is, you cannot lock your stupid door. This was a new car. This was a brand new Scion. So my 5-year-old Volkswagen, I cannot lock my driver's door without my key. It's impossible. If I hit the all lock button, it doesn't lock because the key's there. Mark, you drive a Prius. If your keys are in your car, you cannot lock your door.
That's right, Sean.
Thank you.
See,
so
Mark's an expert.
You cannot leave your car without leaving, and I didn't check if it was unlocked or not because I don't want my fingerprints all over that murder scene.
Yeah.
So there's no explanation that she walks out of her car without her keys, without her purse, without her phone, and just goes on with her day and does not realize it for hours. That is impossible.
Wow.
She is dead, sirs. She
Wow.
is dead.
Wow.
And out of state license plates. So who knows if she even worked at my work.
Well, we'll see. We'll
Yeah, we will.
Oh, well.
No, we won't, because they're covering it up, Carlos. They don't want us to know.
I don't know if that's why would they cover it?
It's like one of the worst Halloween
I know,
stories.
it probably
I mean,
is.
it's
I
not
was expecting.
scary.
He told me this story, and he goes, "I will save this," and he goes, "There might be a murder involved," and I go, "Oh wow, okay, fine."
How is this not true? I
right.
saved it for the podcast. There might be a murder.
All right. Well, we'll see. We'll see. We'll see if we'll edit this out.
Or maybe we can update. Give an update.
Okay.
Yeah,
If we
please.
find,
I will
email
call you.
me
Yeah.
if any update's been on. If not,
I'm calling security tomorrow, and
All
I'm
right.
saying I demand answers.
you should.
And I
If you're
demand
not-
them now.
Yeah, you should. You say, "Hey, whatever happened to that card that was that the keys were in?"
I took pictures.
You know.
I have a picture.
Why are you showing me this?
Because
I
I
don't
want
want
you
to
to
get
know.
involved.
Here's the car, right?
All right.
And then
A bag of nuts.
No,
trail mix.
here's a double M&M that I found. 2 M&Ms
All right,
fused
I
each
think-
other.
I
You
think
took
so,
a picture of a double M&M.
And then I took a picture of the
That's-
car not there.
Oh,
That's all right.
you had a productive day.
That
didn't
was
you?
my day.
Oh, right. Wow. Okay. All right. We'll see. We'll see. Well,
guys, shit just got too real for everybody here.
but let me ask you guys. You guys have been friends for a long, long time, right?
Define friends.
Define.
I'm gonna find friends saying that you guys know each other, like you know each other's families. You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
You've hung out. You've been to like very special moments in your life,
Yeah.
each other's weddings.
Our moms have the same name.
Exactly.
True.
Oh, okay, even better. And you know each other for what? Like I want to say 20 years. No, you haven't been around
No.
for 20, right? You're pretty young.
No.
See, I'm an older crowd, so everything.
We've known each other for going on
Like 10 years, 11
10
years.
Really?
Yeah, more than 10.
Oh, yeah, like 12
high-
years.
Yeah,
12 or
probably
13.
like 12, 13 years.
Like
Going on
around
like 15 years.
Okay.
Almost.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you guys are in a band together.
Yes.
Define me being in the band.
Well, let's see. That is a questionable statement, right?
Here's
there.
how it works. Me and my friend Danny, we write and record songs.
And they're great songs, by the way.
Oh, thank you.
I actually do like the songs. They're very Beatle-esque
Thank you.
songs. You know.
Thank you. We're called the Flashcards.
Great name.
And we write a lot of songs, and we like to play live shows. And instead of just having sort of like a set, number of people in the band. We just like to invite anyone who wants
anyone
who wants to play, anyone who's free that weekend or something like that. And Sean's always around, and Sean always wants to play with us, and we love having him around. So
that's great, because that's probably what a lot of bands used to do, like in the early 70s, was just kind of like, if there was like a live show at the Troubadour, we'd be like, yeah, like, Neil Young's here. Let's see who else we could get in. James Taylor. Yeah, James Taylor, if you want to come up,
just
let's
come
go.
up.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I love that mentality.
I love it when there's always like a random selection of people that may never actually be record a song together or be at a normal concert, but they actually happen at that moment, and you're lucky enough to be an audience member going like, yeah, this is great. Yeah. So that's a good. I like that. Mm-hmm. But I don't know how you got Sean involved.
I don't know. What was that?
There was a Craigslist post.
I heard Sean whined about being in the band. He wrote a letter to you or email to you.
Sean's actually a good guitar player. I mean, I've seen him play.
I've seen him play.
He's gotten a lot better.
Okay. All right. I buy it.
I'd say I'm most improved.
I buy it.
Yeah. But I started from a lower bar than the rest of the band.
Right.
So I'd say the band as a whole started at a B+, and now we're A+. Okay. I started at a D-. Now I'm a solid C.
Okay.
Yeah.
Still passable. Still passable.
Yeah,
it's fun to have Sean just around. So that's that's one of the upsides.
I tell stories like I did earlier.
Oh gosh, some mysterious stories about cars with no passenger in it.
I'm sorry, you live a life that is like a home improvement show, and I live a life that's like unsolved mysteries.
Wow. Let's mark this one. Let's get this for a soundbite, because I think we're going to be hearing that for a long time. Yeah. I think so. Well,
actually, I think you live a life like 2.5 Men. I live a life like unsolved mysteries.
I'm not even married. I don't have a kid. I have a cat.
Well, at 2.5 Men, I don't think either of the guys are married.
They're not
right?
married.
No.
Well, one was married, probably.
Probably.
No, but the guy's divorced, I think. Yeah.
Well,
there's no women in 2.5 Men.
Okay, I don't know. I never seen the show really, so I can't.
Nobody has.
Whatever.
Very unsuccessful.
Well, you know what, guys? This is the rock and roll episode. I keep saying this because we're going to be talking about upcoming stuff that from two, legendary bands, Led Zeppelin. We all know Led Zeppelin, right? We get all let out, right?
Yeah.
And the Stones. The Stones are all. All right. Well, fair enough. We get it. There are two different. One was before the other. We get it. Sean.
Yeah.
It's funny. I got Sean on because Sean definitely has a very not a distinct choice of music, but it's like it's almost like I describe it as for how old are you, Sean?
I am 28 years old.
Yeah, you have the musical taste of like a 58-year-old man.
Yes.
Like it's kind of bizarre.
Yes.
It's really interesting because. Like I love kind of like like the Stones, Zeppelin, but I also like maybe punk. I also love like some alternative music, and just whatever. But sometimes like for you, I'm always intrigued that you go to every Bruce Springsteen concert, every Bob Dylan concert, and I go,
I'm going Friday.
How old is this man? And the fact that you go with your mom, I think you went to. I
went to my just last week. I went and saw Neil Young and Crazy Horse at the Hollywood Bowl.
How old are you again?
With
28?
my dad.
28? Wow.
28 with my dad and my father-in-law.
It's
This
great.
Friday, I'm seeing Bob Dylan.
Wow.
The Hollywood Bowl with my mom.
Wow.
It's my birthday present.
So, because when you were a kid, like what music was out when you were a kid? Like,
I listened to like modern music when I was a kid. I feel like I regressed. Like I kept on listening to older and older stuff because when I was growing up, I listened to the first CD I ever bought was Queen's Greatest Hits, but the first tape I bought, like I had to return. The CD wouldn't play in our CD player, so I had to return it.
Get a tape.
And I got a tape, but then there was money left over, so I got the same Queen album on tape, but then I got the Nothing But a G Thing single.
The perfect
combination.
Combination.
Those are the first two records I bought, or albums I bought.
It's like dark chocolate and Merlot together, in a way, or like some type of wine, some red wine and dark chocolate together.
But I listened to hip hop when I was a kid, like Warren G and Snoop Dogg and things like that, and then I got through that, and I was into kind of like indie rock sort of stuff throughout like high school. I listened to a lot of The Strokes and Pete Yorn and bands like that, and then when I got to college, I like slowly just stopped listening to a lot of modern music and started listening to more and more old stuff. And I don't know, it happened like completely organically. I don't know why.
It's just funny because like I will sometimes like I'll be talking to you, go like, I was listening to the new Bruce album, and I go, Bruce Springsteen has a new album.
Still makes new albums.
Fuck. I'm like, wow. I don't know. I grew up listening to Bruce, but like I don't know, it just seems like. Yeah, like at a certain phase of my life, like I would have been like, oh, I don't know, I can't. I was so young when I first heard.
I hated it as a kid. My mom is a huge Bruce Springsteen fan.
Yeah.
I hated it as a kid.
Right.
But now he's like my favorite musician.
Because Mark, I mean, because the music, like I said, I mentioned, it's like very Beatle-esque.
Yes.
Yeah. But what's your like when growing up? Like, what was your music? I mean, you probably listened to. I bet you your parents were. Saying like, "Hey, this is the music I used to listen to. You want to, Did you ever have that moment?
No, I didn't really get into the kind of stuff they listened to until I was older. I think my first CD was Blues Traveler.
Wow.
And then
The Hook
Alanis
brings you back.
Morissette, Green Day.
Wow.
That kind of stuff. And then I got a little bit into rap too.
G thing.
But
You got to do G thing.
I don't even Tribe Called Quest.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, my sister gave me a Tribe Called Quest CD, and I don't know. I don't know.
You like kind of like indie rock sort of stuff now, I'd say. Right?
I don't know. Is it true? Because I just want to ask you, because I know you Mark, you've been a musician, but sometimes where like music that you listen to is a lot different than the music that you actually create?
Oh, that I play. Oh, no. It's actually, I would say it's very similar.
Very similar. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I like to listen to upbeat, sort of happier music,
right?
Pop,
Tunes, yeah.
Not necessarily like bubblegum pop, but like '60s pop, like good melodies and just sort of
things like where it was like it was good enough. Like Motown is like sometimes like I'll listen to a Motown thing, and it is great because it's a great beat. It's easy to remember the words, and it's upbeat because like sometimes you could almost dance to it. You could actually listen to it,
yeah.
And it's actually even that's why I think it lasts. Like sometimes like I'll listen to a number one single or like the top 10 that is now, and I go like, yeah, I don't think like in 5 years, even from now, I don't think anybody's going to be listening to this going like, oh, this was so great. Like,
this is Mark and I were having this conversation. Who now, like, and I'd say in the last 5 years, right? In the last 5 years, who do you think anybody is going to be talking about? Like you had. Like, if you go back to, like, the 80s and early 90s, Guns N' Roses, right? If you go the 70s, a lot of the bands we're going to talk about tonight,
right. Well, those are, like, mega bands in the 70s,
yeah. And then with the 90s, there was all the grunge, Nirvana. Who represents 2000s and even 2010s or whatever we call this decade?
And I don't know what it is, but, like, see... Yeah, I just don't know. Either the thing is the music industry is so out of whack right now that before like it used to be consistent like a thing where like people would like you would go like the Beatles and the Stones, and then you go like Led Zeppelin, and then after Led Zeppelin there was like another band like maybe same popularity but the same kind of music or it was like Guns N' Roses, what kind of like the epitome of like that.
The early 2000s, in my opinion, was Metallica and Guns N' Roses, because Guns N' Roses came out with
not early 2000s. Not
early
90s.
2000s?
Yeah, early 2000s.
No, early 2000s was like White Stripes, Strokes,
right. There was a post-punk revival.
Oh, you're right.
Yeah.
So you're right. So wait, 90. God, I'm missing a whole decade.
Yeah, that was.
Yeah. What else is new?
Use Your Illusion came out in 92.
91.
Yeah, that's 91.
91.
And the Black Album came out in 93.
92.
92.
Yeah.
And then 94 was Cobain was dead, had just died. Pearl Jam put out their best record.
Man.
Stone Pilots put out, it was like total grunge. But who defines... Because the Strokes...
You're right, 2000.
I like the Strokes a lot, but... 20 years from now, no one's going to talk about the Strokes.
This is what it is too. A lot of those bands, like especially the post-punk, or 94 was a good year. I remember because that had like Green Day came out.
Dookie came out in 94. 94 was an amazing year.
Weezer came out.
Yeah, and movies too, but that's a whole other.
Dumb and Dumber, Jurassic Park was still in theaters.
Yeah.
Do I wish I could go back in time with this equipment and do trailers for that.
Do you know what the fucking economy was like in 1994? 1994 was the best year ever in the history of the world. Right. I'm saying it now.
Lot better. Soundgarden had Black Hole Sun.
Oh my God.
Actually, Soundgarden is one of my favorite bands.
Soundgarden,
Offspring,
97, Soundgarden puts out their best record, Down on the Upside.
Yeah,
that was a great song.
Offspring was around, and it was kind of like that. But then I remember
Alice in Chains.
Like, you're gonna say no. Mike's like later on, like 30 minutes later, Mike's gonna be. Yeah, Pro Jam.
I loved Alice in Chains for like 4 guys. There was a lot of sound. It was really just 3 guys playing instruments. You know?
Mike, I love that guy's voice. Lane Staley.
And do you know what's crazy? You think about it right now. There are more members of the Monkees than there are than the original Alice in Chains right now.
Yeah,
because 2 of them have died due to drugs. Just saying. Just saying. If
don't
you know
do
this,
drugs,
if you
kids.
know, don't
If you
do
listen to
drugs, or else the Monkees might outlive
But
crazy.
how great was
singer is gone,
1994?
yeah.
Like everything about 1994 was the best.
And this is what I think after, because when I was in high
Nobody
school,
thought O.J. Simpson was guilty. It was a beautiful time, an innocent time.
but it was like when I was 95, I was 18 years old. I was like, it was great, you know. I was like really, you know, it was like the time of my life, like fucking unbelievable. Where I said like, once I turn 18, now I'm going to see a lot of the bands that I want to see because I'm old enough. I can actually get a job.
Then they all died.
But nobody was around. Like it seemed like nobody after 95 or 96. I remember being in college and my friend, my best friend Dave, and everything was saying like, yeah, we got Dave Matthews and Hootie the Bluefoot. And I go, what the fuck is this? Like, I'm not getting into this. Like, I came from, like, Nirvana. I came from, like, Pearl Jam and Soundgarden and Alice in Chains. You can name it all. And all of a sudden, I go, what the fuck happened? Like 2 years ago, like I was listening to Nine Inch Nails, and I'm like, there's no way I'm gonna go into like Hootie the Blowfish.
It's called an acoustic guitar, Carlos.
I guess so.
It makes music without being plugged
But
in.
whatever it was, like I felt that the music industry just went so soft. Like it just went into this whole thing where I'm like, what's going on here? Where I want edge. I want some fucking thing. Like,
but then what happened after that in the late 90s?
Well, then like what?
You get
pop music.
You get like Linkin Park and Limp Bizkit, and it's
right.
like, okay, we're a little bit too.
But the thing is, like for me, Linkin Park or especially Limp Bizkit. I remember Limp Bizkit coming out and being like going like, this is the weakest moment I think I've seen everything like in hard rock, or rock in itself, because I'm like, of all the bands or whatever Kid Rock, I'm like, this is no fucking Led Zeppelin. This is no Guns N' Roses or Nirvana. Like that. I mean, I think they, in my opinion, I feel that they sold a lot of records because it was the only thing that we had at that time. If you could, I mean, honestly, that's how I see it.
It was like the rock rap kind of thing.
Yeah, but even now, but that thing was already before. You could go back to Aerosmith and Run DMC, and you could have announced that.
Or even Rage Against the Machine. Was 92.
Rick Rubin had started that thing, and it was this. I think there was nothing there. And
Faith
I think
No More.
Well, you know what? The
biggest,
best-selling record in 1997 was "Dark Side of the Moon." They really was. I swear to God, you can look that up.
And I
That's a
believe
fact.
it.
It's true, actually. Yeah,
Because what had happened was all the baby boomers had they had grown up, and now Dark Side of the Moon, they bought it on vinyl. Maybe it had come out on tape. Maybe they had missed it, but now CDs were prevalent, and all these baby boomers who didn't have a lot of money when they were kids were now all had a lot of disposable income, and they were buying their record collections again on CDs. So they're going to stores and going, oh my God, I loved all these old records. I'm going to buy them all on CD. And then what happened is right around the time Napster hit, was the time that these baby boomers had exhausted all of their old albums. Mm-hmm. So they weren't buying their albums anymore because they had bought them all. They physically, there was nothing left to buy for them. And then meanwhile, Napster's coming around, and meanwhile, there's like shit else on the radio, and all of this kind of devolved and sunk the record industry.
Yeah, it's just it's just sad because like growing up, I saw MTV, I saw videos, I saw like every part, whatever it was, like whether it be like hard rock, it'll be like maybe punk or whatever it was. Like you had great bands, and not to say, and I feel that when it got to that point, like maybe the late '90s or in early 2000, like there was kind of a couple chances, but no one went over, like peaked at that thing. No one took this, and said like, we're gonna be it. We're gonna be that band.
Well, who's like drawing because, like big money on tours right now? Like it's the
all
biggest tours are Madonna, Neil Young. Like they're all people that as the farthest back they'll go is the 80s. Like there's nobody mainstream that's drawing a huge stadium tour. It's Bruce Springsteen.
And
but you mentioned Coldplay though.
I'd say Coldplay's maybe the one exception. I'd say Coldplay might be the biggest band that I can think of right now that's relatively modern.
Yeah, and the thing is, and there was a lot of like other punk bands like in the late '90s or so that weren't maybe as known, but they definitely were there. It was almost like a counterculture again, like because. I mean, yeah, like all I saw was when I was like literally like in the prime of my life, like 24. and all I was seeing like on MTV was like NSYNC and Backstreet Boys, and then going like, what the fuck is going on here? Like seriously, like I have no and you know what? I from that time on, I just said listen to anything from '94 and before. Like that was it. I instead of going back, and I kind of regret it because I did miss out on a couple people that maybe I should have, listened to, or maybe I could have seen because maybe they were on a tour, like I could have seen what's it called, like Elliott Smith or something, like that. Unfortunately, like by the time I came around to it, it was already past, But I feel like that was a time where I'm like, oh, well, I never appreciated this band. I've heard about them. Let's go back and
let's listen to that old Toad the Wet Sprocket CD.
Yeah.
I agree.
I've seen them live, actually.
Of course you have.
I think
There's
you and
nothing to be embarrassed
you
about.
and maybe
I like Toad the Wet
1,000.
Sprocket,
They're
actually.
a good band.
Well, now that you
I thought they were good. Like, nice acoustic, good stuff.
now and well, I no, nothing to deny, but like I said, another band that unfortunately they were there at that time, but didn't, maybe if they would have been later on, it was also bad timing. Maybe it's just bad timing. I don't know.
There was, I feel like, a wave that crashed in like the late '90s. Like, I mean, in other words, I don't know. I remember seeing Queensryche. I saw Metallica. I saw Guns N' Roses. I saw Smashing Pumpkins. I saw Duran.
Yeah, like I said.
all these bands that were kind of at the what I would say the end of their heyday.
Right.
And they rode that wave, and then that wave just crashed.
Yeah.
And
Well,
then that
90
was it. And then everything changed.
Yeah,
after that.
97 I think was, I feel like 90, it started in like 92 was a great year because they all, like Nirvana put out Nevermind, Pearl Jam and Stone Temple Pilots 91, 92 put out their first records. Alice in Chains put out whatever, the Dirt or whatever that big record was. Yeah. And then 94, those bands put out their second records, which were great. And then 97, I feel like they put out what is really like the last record you really want to listen to by them. Mm-hmm. Smashing Pumpkins put out Melancholy and the Infinite Sadness.
Which is a great album.
Soundgarden put out Down on the Upside and then just completely imploded and broke up. But it was like, that was... Like, it was a perfect little decade, like, really existed probably 91 to 97 of just, like, all that music was great. And then right around the same time, like, 98, 99, there was all this pop music. There was Britney Spears, there was Christina Aguilera, and there was Limp Bizkit
Destiny's
answering
Child.
that.
Yeah, and that's what I mean. It's like, I feel that, like, whatever the music industry at that time said, like, we needed something new and something there. And I think when they look back, I think like Korn and Limp Bizkit maybe or something, maybe were not the best thing, in a sense, because maybe they were like at that time. But when I look back, I'm like, it sucked because you could definitely tell that the musicianship was not the same as compared to those other, and those albums were not the same as other albums. Like,
System of a Down, though, those guys were pretty incredible. I mean, I saw some amazing stuff done by them.
Right, but you could go back to the 60s, and you could go back, and there was probably, like, shitloads of bands, like, maybe not the same, in this, but definitely, maybe had great albums and all that, but didn't take the torch in the sense.
But, like, System of a Down, like, bands like that, they were kind of the answer to, like, Slayer, and... because Slayer, I thought they were an incredible band. Like back when, I mean, if you watch those guys play these riffs, it's pretty incredible what they do.
Wow.
But like after that, I mean, they died too. Like I think in 1996, their last album that came out sold 200,000 units, and that was it or something. So they went down. But you had this like new entrance of this sort of like Nine Inch Nails industrial meets like that heavy metal, and that was like Korn and Limp Bizkit to some degree.
And I feel like I'm glad you brought up Nine Inch Nails because that was one band that I really enjoyed, and I felt that when they did Downward Spiral in 94, they didn't release another album till 99, and I felt that was not the smartest things because they should have, or Trent Reznor should have basically said like, here, I'm gonna do more, and it just seemed like let's just say my musical prayers were not answered, or till like maybe later on.
Well,
or
he
something.
hates God, so the problem was you were praying.
You know what?
Don't pray for a Trent Reznor album.
Trent Reznor is a musical genius.
Oh,
so that guy, like, I mean, it was incredible.
He was definitely what we needed, and I'll never forget seeing going to 7-Eleven and seeing it was 1999, and seeing a Spin magazine on the cover, and it showed Axl Rose, and he goes, "What the world needs now is Axl Rose," and it was weird because I'm like, "What does that mean?" And I go, and I'm like, "Yeah, I haven't seen Axl Rose do anything." And then when I'm reading it, I'm like, yeah, I haven't seen literally anybody doing anything. Not only Axl Rose, Trent Reznor, and nobody was doing really anything to kind of do it. And it was a great article because they talked about Chinese democracy. At least at that time, it wasn't Chinese democracy. But definitely that was another thing where I'm like, oh, Guns N' Roses should have been maybe at that time. Maybe another album would have done, great at that time. Maybe another.
Well, they came out with the Spaghetti Incident, which didn't do well.
No, and it wasn't the same. And whatever at that time.
But that was mostly covers, I think. Right?
Yeah,
It was
it was all
album,
covers, and that's what I'm saying. Like, I feel like a lot of bands that even at the time before were the best didn't parlay it later on. But the bands that did make a shitload of money. And even now, believe it or not, are still, like I said, it's great that you brought that up with the Dark Side of the Moon and everything out being the #1 album. Guess what? It's still working now, I think, because even the music industry, as much as it, everyone's doing their own thing, doing their own independent labels, and I still feel where it's like, you could probably name the top 10, and I could probably say like, no, I haven't heard any of that. Maybe 3 of those top 10s I probably heard, and one is of that fucking Korean guy named Psy,
Well, the guy that from American Idol, or was that?
No. Yeah, Mike. See, that's what I mean. That's what I mean. Mike is so like you're no, which is fine. I'm not like knocking you. The thing is, like literally, Psy. There's a Korean guy named Psy who did Mike is looking at me really fucking odd. There's a guy named Psy, and it's called Gangnam Style. And it's like the biggest fucking song right now. And I'm like, what the fuck? I'm like, really? It's like it's like a generic pop techno song.
Basically what
That's
it is.
not the guy that does she bangs, she bangs.
No. There's a slot in like pop culture. There's a little tiny slot. And that guy was in the slot. Yeah. And then he moved out of it. And so this Psy guy was like, oh, cool, that slot's open. I'm going to fill that void of, hey, this is charming because it's funny.
Right. Music. And it's so generic. It's like the most generic techno song, the most generic dancing in the video. It's one of those songs where it's like almost like, I think it's #1 because it's a goof. It's like he's like the Tiny Tim of this generation, I think. But and what I call a very special down the pike.
Down the pike.
Let's do this, guys. Let's talk about. Normally, this is like. Mostly we do a lot of trailers, and Led Zeppelin is oddly enough did a concert. The original 4. There's the original 4, but John Bonham, of course, died in 1980 after drinking a little too much.
A little too much?
Let's just say
hit 2 glasses of wine.
Let's just say those 2 glasses of wine was a little bit much that night, and unfortunately he had passed away. And that was, of course, the end of Led Zeppelin. They didn't
want to do it after.
Every now and then
there was only one John Bonham.
Right.
Great. Yeah.
And the thing was, it was great because there was a lot of respect to that bandmate, and every now and then you could see maybe Robert Plant and Jimmy Page kind of doing a little combination or something.
Well, they reunited for a while, but then I think they got in a big argument or something.
Yeah, just like all bands do, just like anything. And in 2007, they did a concert, and I guess this is a
Pageant
concert.
Plant, right?
No. It also had John Paul Jones on there.
Oh, okay.
And what it was that it was
Jason Bonham too on drums.
Yeah, Jason Bonham, the son of John Bonham. Yeah. And it was a tribute to the guy who ran their Atlantic Records, who was at the time Led Zeppelin's main label, basically. And this guy was a real powerful guy, enough for all the guys like Aretha Franklin. Anybody who was a big name, knew this person. I don't remember his name, but whatever it was, the remaining 3 decided to get together and with Jason Bonham and do a concert.
Yeah,
which was like big news. Everyone's like, "Fuck yeah!"
And they this is the ultimate, the shit out of it.
Exactly. Too. This is the ultimate because of all the bands. Because Pink Floyd, it was still there, and it was all those things where bands started coming up. Like Bruce was still around, and everything. But of all the bands, like the most popular and influential was Led Zeppelin. And they never, like, you know, people would just do reunions. They would say no. They would. One of them was
they
always
did
say,
one. They had done one years before, and they like totally botched it.
Yeah, which was Live Aid.
Yeah,
yeah, which they had Phil Collins of all people doing the drums, which is not his style of playing, even as a drummer.
Yeah.
Not the best.
He's a great drummer, but yeah, I mean,
Not
I don't
for
know.
Led
As
Zeppelin.
far as like Led Zeppelin, it's a little different. Yeah.
I mean, I can imagine. I'm like, wasn't the drummer of Quiet Riot hanging around that area in the backstage, going
It's
like,
kind of a different style.
yeah, but you would think it'd be more of a heavy metal drummer would have fit perfectly instead of Phil Collins, you know. And yeah, it was very botched. It did not go well. And of course, you know, they got back together and they sounded amazing. And I'm gonna play. I'm gonna play you a little trailer because, believe it or not, they filmed this concert, and only up till now they're releasing it as a movie that people could actually go to the movie theaters and see the concert live. And they're actually releasing it on DVD and a CD. And let me just play it. I'm gonna play it right here. Yeah. Amazing. Sounds better than ever. And this was one night. Yeah, this is just one night. Sean's crying. Are you still crying about that woman in the car? Fuck.
She bought her Stairway to Heaven.
Fuck that bitch.
Wait, so this was filmed
At that concert.
what year?
2007.
2007.
Why did they sit on it for so long?
And that's what I want to talk about.
Oh.
Because I'm not a manager. I'm not a manager of a band, or I don't do any marketing. But if you have this thing where it just happened one night, I mean, you would want to take advantage of it. And it took them 5 years to say, hey, guys, we're not going to be reuniting, not at all, but we're going to sell this movie we're going to sell this thing as a movie for you guys to watch. Which I don't know. I was trying to find any movie theater that's playing it because it supposedly just already came out.
Yeah,
I haven't found one.
Yeah, there's not a lot around here.
All I saw was a lot of movie theaters in Argentina and Greece that were playing this movie, but not anywhere in the U.S. So.
And I think part of the reason they kept it for so long is that there were rumors that Led Zeppelin was going to go on tour after this show, and it was one of those rumors, kind of like before they announce like a new iPad or something, where the rumors are so prevalent that it just kind of becomes fact. And so people were pretty convinced they were going to go on tour, and they didn't outwardly deny it. And then they came out and were very much like, nope, we're not touring. It's over. Da da da. So I have a feeling that they didn't want to put the movie out if they were going to go on tour, and they kind of let it go. And then finally they're like, no, seriously, there's not going to be a tour.
Yeah.
Nice.
We can make this money.
I really don't. I mean, I really love Led Zeppelin, but I feel that as much as they are the most influential, or one of the most influential bands ever, you know, or at least top 5, you know, compared to like the Beatles, I feel that. I mean, they're overrated in a sense because I feel that there's a lot of issues that they have, or things, because they used to have a thing. They were very cool in the way that they were very mysterious. But the more and more you got into what they're really doing, it just, to me, it kind of, it didn't seem the same. It just seemed phony, because they had a lot of problems before where they lifted off a lot of old songs when they were first starting out as a band.
I heard about that. Yeah,
they lifted it because to me, I think their image of what Led Zeppelin was a very blues and very folk, but very heavy-handed, you know, sound over it. Mm-hmm. And I think, and there's proof of it, that they literally, I think, took a lot of songs that were not really well known or old blues songs, and basically just made it into their own thing without crediting the original people. And now, when you look at some of the things, you can see that where, like, maybe Robert Johnson, who's an old blues guitarist, is credited to one of the songs that they have, or some of the songs that they did. And I'm like, I don't know. Now you're kind of getting into where I'm like, I mean, it feels like maybe they're not as original as they should be, really. Or maybe they're not as... I mean, they're influential in what they did, but not as... I would at least the Beatles were like, fuck, we're doing the cover, and now we're doing our own shit.
But isn't that part of the vibe of like that blues stuff? Was that these were these songs that would get passed through people. And
right.
So you'd hear somebody do a song that had a riff, and he'd have some lyrics, and then you'd hear another version of that song that was a very similar riff, different lyrics. So I think... in my opinion, they were kind of borrowing that sort of mentality in how they perform their songs.
Which is fine, but it's...
some of the old bluesy stuff. You know?
Right, and it's fine, but it's always fine to kind of credit, or give credit where credit's due. You know what I mean? And I don't think they did that when they were younger. Maybe they... because, I mean, they were getting a shitloads of money, and unfortunately, the people were not getting a lot of money. Like, even I think Stairway to Heaven, I think, was something that they actually lifted. I don't know. You could actually go on YouTube. I think there's like somebody who had a site that it was like you could compare a lot of the biggest hits that Led Zeppelin did and compare it to other maybe old folk singers, and they literally copied it, even the way like a folk singer would sing the way the song. I mean, it was kind of and it kind of left a bad taste in my mouth in regards to Led Zeppelin.
As far as guitar playing though, in Stairway to Heaven, I don't think there was really much blues in that.
No, not necessarily. They didn't necessarily lift only. It was not only blues singers, but it was also like folk singers. Somebody that maybe they were like not known folk singer. Because folk singer, I mean, like you can imagine like Bob Dylan maybe, but there was plenty of folk singers prior to Bob Dylan, like Woody Guthrie, and even then, I think even Bob Dylan is more of a rip-off of Woody Guthrie, in the beginning of his career, in a way.
Well, I mean, I think it comes down to the same thing. Bob Dylan's like first couple records were filled with covers, and were kind of reinterpretations, or even just like straight off interpretations. Right. I think the difference is that Bob Dylan wears his love for Woody Guthrie on his sleeve.
Yeah.
I mean, he started his career by going to California and New York to go sit by Woody Guthrie's deathbed.
Exactly. He would go into the hospital.
He would go to the hospital and visit Woody Guthrie because Woody Guthrie changed his life. But I do think that at least spiritually, Led Zeppelin kind of is very acknowledges that sort of history in how they do what they do.
That's how
it's not, it's not like they're calling we're completely new. They're going, what we did was we took, this Delta blues and mixed it with this kind of British rock and roll, and they were chocolate and peanut butter and put them together and made this awesome song.
Fair enough. But there's another thing too that kind of irks me about Led Zeppelin. And I hate to shit on that because it's funny because I really loved them. Like I would love to be at that concert. I actually might want to buy the DVD and CD just to check it out because you could hear it. They sound amazing. But one thing that you may not know of, but it's really, a lot of people, like a lot of old bands, like Beatles and Neil Young or something. They would always get asked, for their music to be on commercials and things, and they never did it. They didn't like it. It wasn't only till like Michael Jackson bought the rights to the Beatles that you would hear like on a Nike commercial, Revolution, which was crazy because it had nothing to do with anything else. Like John Lennon if he was alive, would have fucking gone apeshit.
He would just kill himself.
Yeah. Oh yeah. He would have hired a hitman to kill himself. Probably that's how angry he probably would have been. But it was amazing that. Led Zeppelin never put their money out there, or put their songs out there because for that reason. They didn't believe in it. And even like Richard Linklater, who directed Dazed and Confused, which was there's the title of the movie was based on a Led Zeppelin song. He wanted to play the song Rock and Roll on it, and he even made like a video like pleading to have it, and Jimmy Page and John Paul Jones were like, "Hey, I'm fine with it." Robert Plant said, "Nope," and they didn't. And Richard, I think to this day, felt like really, even to this day, I may feel a little bit pissed off. I assume that he's still a little angry by that because I think in his vision, it would have been the perfect song for whatever scene that would have been in it. And I'm like, that's crazy because later on, because that movie was made in '96. Later on, Jimmy Page and Puff Daddy just made a Kashmir
for a really good movie though, right?
what
movie
was
that?
the amazing movie?
Yeah, I mean probably one of the top 10 movies.
Of all time. You would say Godzilla was that movie?
Oh yeah, the remake to Godzilla.
Never mind, that was a piece of shit. Yeah, I guess Robert Plant said, you know what? That sounds like a good idea. Let's get Puff Daddy to rap over, and probably one of the most popular songs, not in Led Zeppelin history, but in rock and roll, and rap over it, just going a lot of yeah.
Yeah.
And then play it for a shitty movie like that, and I'm like, what is going on?
Had it
here?
been Peter Jackson's King Kong,
totally different. I mean, I would have put Stairway to Heaven in fucking King Kong, in my opinion.
It's been done before, though. I mean, what was the Butterfly song? You know?
Exactly.
That was a Red Hot Chili Peppers.
Wait. What were you talking about, Mike?
The Butterfly rap song. You know, Butterfly. The song Butterfly. You remember that one?
No, say Butterfly 3 more times. I think it'll
You're talking about the song by Crazy Town?
Yeah,
Butterfly?
Right.
My
is
sugar
that?
fly, butter, baby, or something, whatever.
Wait a second.
But wait,
you
what
said
do
the
you-
song's called Butterfly, and then you just went to sing, and you said My Sugar Fly.
Like you didn't even sing it like the way it should be.
You know what I'm talking about, though,
Yeah,
right?
okay.
But-
that was a Chili Peppers riff. So, I mean, a lot of rappers have done that. Though they've kind of taken like rock riffs.
But my point is that I just don't understand. I don't understand why, if anything, I don't understand why, if anything, it's gonna like okay. Let me explain it. No, I get your point. I just feel that if anything, I feel that they should have picked a movie into that, because I think it would have been, because Dazed and Confused is about like a high school in the 70s and of course Led Zeppelin was the epitome of like any rock band that you could ever think of, more than Kiss, more than like, you know, the Stones or anything. Led Zeppelin were it. And I don't understand that why they would say no in that, or at least Robert Plant would say no in that. But when they would think Kashmir and going with Puff Daddy for a Godzilla movie, for Christ's sake, I mean, the only
because of the money.
Exactly, it's only the money, and that's what leaves another bad taste in my mouth when it comes to Led Zeppelin.
Puff Daddy did for the Biggie the song. You know, he did.
Well, he covered. Yeah, he used like the thing was about Puff
he
Daddy.
did. I'll be watching you. The Police.
like the Police. Like
and I think, you know, that one song, like, hey, must be the money. You know that song?
Right.
Yeah, that was like I think that was like a Coltrane horn that they.
Well, the thing is about.
If I can remember, right?
I guess I'm not sure, but the thing.
Hey, must be the money.
Oh, we get it, Mike. We get it. I feel that.
I like that song. Actually.
I know. I get it. No, I'm just saying, like, Puff Daddy was. He was, I guess, smart enough or had the balls enough to not take a really track or just like a really, like, he took the sample and just basically rapped over it. So and I feel that he got number one, or those songs got number one, not because of him, but because there was a great song.
Well, it was a mixed match. I mean, if you look at Kanye West too, I mean, now he does kind of the same thing. He does some crazy stuff on his album. Like, I mean, I have his album, like the latest one that came out, and it's pretty amazing, like what they do. But you know, I mean, they'll take stuff from like Motown stuff, you know, like.
But they'll take a little part or a piece of it, which was the way hip hop was. But I think Puff Daddy was like, no, let's sample the whole riff, you know, and the most popular. I mean, it's like, might as well copy "We Will Rock You" and do a sports rap anthem on there, and be like, yeah, of course I can make a shitload of money from doing that. It's not because I did anything; it's because I just took a sample, and I don't know, stuff like that. You know, when I always hear about it, like we were talking about earlier, I feel like, it's like, it's the money, and I guess it's like,
hey, it must be the money.
Welcome back. We get it.
No, keep going. What's the
I don't
second
know the
verse?
rest of it, but,
but I don't know. So I don't know what you guys think. I mean, I don't know what the whole thing.
What do you think about Led Zeppelin, Mark? We've never talked about.
No, but I mean, are you guys gonna check
Our
out this?
taste.
Are you gonna check out this this thing?
Yeah,
Are you
of
gonna
course
check it
I am.
out? I know you will.
Yeah. What about you?
Led Zeppelin. I don't know. I don't know. If Sean invites me to go see this, I'll go. I never really got into them. I do like their hits.
Right.
I just remember the cool kids at my school always wore the Led Zeppelin shirts.
Wait, what? How old are you again? You're 58 or
no? But when I was in 6th grade, I remember there's this one kid named Max Anchor, and he was like the coolest kid because he took like acid and did LSD and stuff like that. I'm like,
awesome. How old was he? How old was he?
He was like in 7th grade with me. I was
like 12 years old. He's taking acid.
This guy is awesome.
Wow,
he's so cool. I mean, to a certain point, I was like, wow, he likes all these cool bands, and he wore a Led Zeppelin shirt. I'm like, I have no idea what that is.
Wow, if one guy was not liking the music of the 90s or late 90s, was that kid right there.
I don't know. I think that a kid who's taking LSD in the mid 90s is probably a Dave Matthews Band fan too. Like, I think that could work. That could translate.
All right, but I'll tell you this: Dave Matthews, if Dave Matthews Band was reuniting or something, I don't think they would sound like that. Like, no, I don't think anybody would be like, "Yeah, let's check that out. I want to see that. Let's check out that band."
Well,
and of course, the worst name ever, Dave Matthews.
Dave Matthews Band.
Come on.
But speaking of my music taste and Mark's music tastes. There's a gift that I gave Mark a couple years ago that internally I've been grappling with whether or not this was a good gift or if this was just the douchiest thing I could do.
I'm going to say douchiest.
What I did was I got Mark for his birthday one year. I got him like 4 albums and this is what I did, is there were 4 albums that I really liked, but also that reminded me of Mark. They're basically like 4 albums, like, here's 4 albums that I think are great, but I also think you would really appreciate. And this took me a long time to find because the music I listened to, I had to like order some of them online. So I got him Flood by They Might Be Giants.
That's a religious band, isn't it?
No, They Might Be Giants is like they wrote the Daily Show theme song.
I'm thinking but there is that one song, Flood by
Jars of Clay.
Jars of Clay. They're the religious band. Yeah.
No, but this is They Might Be Giants, who did like Istanbul, not Constantinople.
I want to make something clear. Mike is a musician, very accomplished, but yet when it comes to the history of music,
that happens.
But what's crazy is that what you did is you found. I said They Might Be Giants, which is a pretty well-known band, I'd imagine.
Yeah.
And you mistook them for a very specific Christian rock band.
Well, you said Flood, and I just remember that Flood. Like that's
crazy.
I kind of remember that.
But it's funny. But you're like a mafioso where you just do the hit. Like you ask questions later on. Like you just say it.
Religious.
Yeah, you go like that's a religious band, and you're like no.
Well, I said that question.
Kind of. But it's kind of.
So what else did we?
But it was Elvis Costello's "My Aim Is True."
Okay.
Which is one of my favorite albums of all time.
You gave me that one?
I did.
That's a good album. Elvis Costello.
That was you?
Yeah.
No,
There are 2 others that
I'll
I can't remember.
Okay, I'll tell you.
Do you remember?
I think one was Bruce Springsteen.
Born to Run.
How old are you?
And then the other one was M. Ward.
Oh, yeah. I think I did. That's it. Sorry, I did 3 albums that were older that I thought that Mark would enjoy, and then one other one that reminded me of Mark, which was a newer record that I really liked, which was M. Ward. So it was so this is my reasoning behind this was, yes, they were like some of my favorite albums, but they also, I didn't give you a Led Zeppelin. I would have never thought to have gotten you a Led Zeppelin album, but Elvis Costello reminded me of you, so I got you that. So I was kind of like, here's some music that I really like that I also think you would appreciate. So I know you're interested in music. I thought it might be a thoughtful gift, but it also could be a totally douchey thing, like giving you a bowling ball with my name on it.
No, They Might Be Giants. I don't listen to the album that often because it's fun. Yeah. It's fun stuff. It's not something you really listen to driving down PCH or something. Yeah. And I knew a lot of the songs just from growing up.
I think actually that's the one that I couldn't find Flood, so I got you like a greatest hits album. Because that was the one that I could not find anywhere.
Yeah. No, that's a great one. Bruce Springsteen, I do appreciate him. I understand why people like him. I haven't maybe yet gotten into him as much as Sean has.
And one day when you're
when the kids are out of college,
when your grandson will ask you about it, and you could give him that same CD.
But and then I have to tell you, M. Ward was awesome. That was great because I like She and Him, and I didn't know that he was too much of his original. Yeah, he was the him. And then honestly, the Elvis Costello album really influenced
Wow.
my taste in music.
Right.
And,
I was gonna say that's a cool
and
album.
how I write music too.
Ha! It worked.
It really,
Is it
definitely changed my.
It's funny because you didn't know it was Sean that gave you, I guess.
I couldn't remember.
Because that would have been.
To me.
I thought that would have been like a for sure why you invited him to be in the band. Was
no, that's definitely one of our common interests. Yeah.
Yes, Mike.
No, I was gonna say, Sean, didn't you get Randy, your now wife? Didn't you get her a used copy of The Sound of Music or something
No.
like VHS tape?
No,
It's even
he
worse.
should have done that.
It's even worse.
He should have done that.
I got Randy once, and this was for different
Christmas,
reasons why
right?
she hated me.
For Christmas,
For
or-
Christmas, I got her a Little Romeo CD, and that was it for Christmas. And it was more of kind of like a gag gift sort of thing of we used to joke around about Little Romeo. And what I didn't realize was we had kind of said unofficially, we're not going to get each other Christmas presents this year. We were both broke and in college. And I learned a valuable lesson. Yes, I learned a valuable lesson, which is, I learned a double lesson. One, when you say you're not going to get gifts, you should still get somebody a little something. But two, you shouldn't fucking get them just a gag gift. But I haven't learned my lesson in gag gift giving because this Christmas, I forget what I got Randy. This
This is what you gave Randy.
I wish, because this is the song that she loved from Little Romeo that we'd always joke around about. I got her his next album, which was terrible.
Which is basically Michael Jackson.
Basically Jackson 5, right?
Yeah, you know what? You should have given her a Jackson 5 greatest hits. Probably you would have been better off.
But I got Randy this year for Christmas. I got her something she wanted or something that was good. I imagine because she didn't hate me. But I also got her. She for some reason has a grudge against the movie Rango. She hates it. She's never seen it. But the second she saw the trailer for it, she turned to me and was like, "This movie looks terrible."
Wow.
And she's. You guys know my wife. She's a very sweet, soft-spoken woman. She fucking hates this movie. And so I also got her Rango on DVD, and I was like, do you want to open one of your Christmas presents on Christmas Eve?
No.
And she was like, yeah. And I gave her Rango, and she threw it across the room.
Oh my God! You're just asking for a domestic.
I kind of want to get
a pattering, just from her. She's just gonna stalk you one day.
But I will say, I'm very happy about this Mark Saul thing because in retrospect, as years have passed, I've thought about this again, and I've been like, is that such an asshole thing to do? Here's things that I like, but I felt like there was one element of more thought put in. Because I also did get Randy a video game once as a gift, as this sort of thing of here's something I like, and I'm trying to get a version of it that you like. And then we can share this, and it totally did not work. And then I felt stupid about it. But with this, I was totally on the fence.
Wow.
No, you succeeded in.
You changed his life. You changed his life. Yeah. Wow. Well, you guys, how do you feel? Let me ask you. We were talking about Led Zeppelin, but never mind them. How do you feel, guys? How do you feel about the Stones?
I love the Rolling Stones.
Yeah.
I do actually.
I do too.
I don't have any of their new stuff. Any of their newer.
You mean any of their the 2000s?
Yeah, nothing. No, but I love Beggar's Banquet.
Sticky Fingers.
I
think Ruby Tuesday is my favorite song.
That's a good song.
Yeah,
yes.
I do like them.
I love Miss You. I remember one time seeing this guy, amazing musician that Mike and I love, Joseph Arthur, and we saw him do a show here in LA. And he did at the end of the thing when he was doing an encore. I guess he didn't even. I mean, it was such a great show he did that people were like, "No, we need an encore." And I guess he wasn't expecting it. That he was actually he did a cover of "Miss You," and he didn't even know the words. He had to put the thing out because everybody was like, one more, and he brought it, and it was a fucking amazing cover. It sounded so just raw, what the Stones probably would have done, and it was fun. Yeah. So anytime anybody does a cover of the Stones for some reason, I really like it. I feel that they're a good band.
Talk about a blues influenced band.
Though.
I mean,
the ultimate
Stones
blues. Yeah.
Blues.
I mean, they're named after a song from a blues song, and they to me, I think were one band that probably was the perfect band before Led Zeppelin because they definitely used all those. There were another band that also started out with just doing a lot of covers, a lot of stuff, but their own take on it. And when it came to the 70s, I mean, that's where they just exploded. I think that for a band, their durability, like they really were a very durable band. I think I could say from 1962 to 1981, they were still pretty the biggest band I think out there. You know, and that's saying something because a lot of bands can't do that even now. Because even afterwards, it's like no one's around, no one's that's doing anything. And but can you believe it? The upcoming thing. This is what's crazy about the whole thing, and that's why I bring it up. Is that they're doing their 50th anniversary. 50 years they've been fucking together.
Yep.
That's fucking insane. Can you believe that? And
yeah, 50 years. I mean,
and let me play you a little clip because this is the 50th thing. They're actually coming up. It's coming up in November and December. They're doing actually 4 shows, London and New Jersey.
Brooklyn. They're doing the new Barclays Arena.
Right.
The new Nets Arena.
But the reason why I brought this band up is because unlike Led Zeppelin, who just did a one-time thing in like for I don't know how many years, maybe like 20-something years, you know, almost 30 years or so, the Stones have been just continually just being on, you know, one thing, and which is great. But I think it's gone. This has to be the last thing. This has to be the last hurrah, because seeing 7-year-olds on stage. It's kind of jarring.
I think they're going to tour after this.
Really?
I'm not even kidding.
Wow.
Yeah. Facetious.
I just don't know, because like my dad is 70, and I just can't imagine him doing a show for 2 hours going on stage.
Springsteen's almost 70. He does 3-hour shows, and it's outrageous.
And you know, and this is why I bring it up, because I think since, you know, we were talking about like the music and the whole thing, since no one stepped up, a lot of these old bands have been just putting themselves out there. And I'm like, wow, like that's kind of a sad thing that a band like Stones for 50 years it's like they're still, you know, selling a ticket that's like $600, $700. And I'm like, all we have is Justin Bieber. That's it.
Well, no, it's true. I mean, I thought one of the big things with Neil Young that I thought was when he put out a big protest record, like in 2000.
Or the night. Are you talking about
2006?
Okay, yeah.
He put out "Living with War,"
right.
a big anti-war record, and I kind of was like, well, where the fuck is our generation?
No.
Like, Neil Young's not like his people aren't going to war.
He was like he did a now the most famous one when he was at Buffalo Springfield. What's it called? It was on the Force. All I know is in the Force.
He did it with Crosby, Stills, and Nash and Young.
Yeah.
Did the Ohio song
for what it's worth. Yeah, Ohio, and he did it for what it's worth.
He's done a lot of stuff.
Well,
like that.
some people would say the Green Day "American Idiot" was the
the
protest.
It was, but it was at least a start. But then let's go back and say that Green Day was doing it 10 years after their big record. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like, they were still a little old to be doing that,
right?
And so it's like it's just I was kind of like, where the hell's our generation?
There isn't
writing any band that writes something meaningful. I know Bright Eyes did a couple songs and here and there, but there wasn't enough like meaningful songwriting where somebody, and you know, even politics aside, the fact that like these pop stars had no opinion on anything,
right?
You know, and even the fact now that Springsteen's record is being called like the Occupy New Jersey record, and you know everybody's
and it's like
miserable with the economy and all this stuff, and the only people writing records about this stuff are older people.
But do you think that's because songs like that wouldn't get any airplay?
I mean, it could be partially that. Yeah. I think it might be partially that to blame, but I also think that there's not a lot of those people writing from the heart anymore, where they will voice like Taylor Swift like writes her own songs in quotes, and like, but she's writing the same song over and over about like a boy breaking her heart. Like nobody, you know, when Crosby, Stills, Nash & Young, when those guys were 17, 18 years old, they were, and you know, they were perhaps, some might say naively, but I'd say not, writing very thoughtful songs about important things.
And that's the thing. I feel that a lot of bands, for some reason, you could definitely tell when a band gives their heart. Like when Guns N' Roses came out with Appetite for Destruction, it came from a very honest approach to their type of music that they wanted to play. And lyrically, it was like stuff that they were living at. Like they were like the craziest of those things where that was their life. Like to them, they were hanging out with strippers, you know. I mean, they were basically strippers were like basically almost raising them, like almost paying for their rent because they were so poor. They saw the Hollywood life and how crazy it is, you know, stuff like that. So when you came out to doing like an album like that, it came from the heart, and you could definitely hear it when you hear it. That it was like this big ensemble that it took them maybe 1 or 2 takes. I'm like, yeah, because they were fucking in it, like they were doing it. Now it's like, yeah, you got Taylor Swift or Justin Bieber, and it's like there's not a lot of heart. All it is, it's almost the epitome of fluff. Like, it's
and even when they do, like when Will.i.am puts out a song, like he just sounds like an idiot. Like I think, like if Justin Bieber put out a protest song, I'd just be like, oh fuck you sound stupid. I'd say the closest, like the person you'd get that would do it, because Bieber wouldn't do that. Like he doesn't write his own stuff, and if he does, whatever. But I'd say it would be like a John Mayer, and then I would just be like, you're an idiot. You know what I mean? So it's like I can't even find that band. No. And then again, I wasn't around in that time, so I don't know if people were saying that about Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young. But I just doubt it, because those songs have lived on. Like Ohio is a song that I think almost everybody they know the song better than the actual event.
Right.
You know?
Yeah. And it's a great song. It's a great song that they probably took them like probably a day and a half probably just to write it.
I think they wrote it within hearing about Kent State. They wrote it within days, and it was like, and that's a very like Neil Young-y thing to do. Exactly. But it was like out,
right?
You know,
and I don't know, but you know, going back with the Stones, it's like, I mean, consistency. But after a while, I think, like I said, I think after '81, like after Tattoo You, you know, I think they didn't go back to touring till like Steel Wheels, which was almost like the end of the decade. And that, you know, to me, that should have been, because they had like a lot of guests. Like I remember Axl Rose being, and you know, Izzy from Guns N' Roses, you know, in '89 doing a couple things, and Tina Turner going back. You know, that was like, I think the end. Like that should have been maybe not necessarily the swan song, but maybe the second to last, you know, of their thing. But no, unfortunately, they did not see it that way. And they are keep going on. They're milking this thing like to the day they fucking die. Mm-hmm. I don't know what it is. But let me play the trailer, because I thought the trailer was fucking interesting. On the whole thing.
Everybody ready for the next song.
And it's all this like the bits, you know, from all their tours and other things. But them visually now, it's fucking insane. Yeah.
Are you ready?
I mean, it looks like they went through Vietnam like 5 tours. Look at that.
Surely you didn't think we weren't as good. There's been all these rumors flowing around, so here we are.
A lot of rumors going around.
Soon we'll be back on stage playing for you in 2 cities that know how to rock and roll.
They did that because they can't say the sentence
can't do the whole
themselves.
sentence.
No,
they had
exactly.
to chop it up. Into,
That's so old. They probably forgot. They're probably gonna,
Greenwich by the river. On the 25th and the 29th of November. Then across the east coast of America, where we're playing 2 shows in Newark, New Jersey.
Oh boy.
Prudential Center on the 13th and the 15th of December. With the Stones. Maybe a few friends joining us?
Springsteen. Yeah.
in New Jersey. Yeah, I think they moved the New Jersey one though to Brooklyn, but he'll still be there.
Rock and roll, but I like it. This is, I don't know. It's from, London in November and in December.
Then I think 2013 they're gonna tour.
Yeah, I don't know.
Mick Jagger looks very good.
No, he does.
The rest of the band,
no.
I mean, Keith Richards looks like garbage, but I'd say Mick Jagger looks great. I think Ron Wood looks all right. Like,
I mean, it's just insane because I feel like what's gonna happen, because I saw a video recently, not because it's horrible to see, and the only reason why I was kind of chuckling because it was I forgot the band name, but they were in Brazil, and you know, everyone's performing, everyone's having a good time, you know, and the drummer has a heart attack. Stops playing, of course, and just collapses, and like cymbals flying everywhere, whatever it is. And thank God for the singer that there was like a break, because there was like I don't know if I guess there was a guitar solo, whatever it was.
There's a drum solo.
It was the greatest drum solo ever. Keith Moon would have been, jealous, I think. But I think thank God that the singer looked back and recognized that something was wrong, and because everybody, like all the other musicians, are just going, they're really into it.
Nobody pays attention to the
No
drummer.
one's paying attention to what's going on. And I'm like,
Doesn't happen.
And I'm like, the drummer is gone. Like the backbeat of the whole song is like not playing. So you would think it would be going like, what happened to the beat? And like no. And I feel like I hope this does not happen because I think it might happen where someone's gonna fucking drop dead. And like,
how awesome would that be to die if you're a drummer?
I don't know.
Seriously though, and you die on stage in front of 1 billion people doing exactly what you love.
That would be.
It's
It would.
pretty
Okay.
fucking poetic.
Yeah, it would be like if Charlie Watts, God forbid, like if he just fucking just went set like literally like and like it didn't fall back like in this whole thing where people like literally fell like that's a laugh, but I'm just saying I could just imagine like it would be the worst would be like if he fell forward and just fucking drum sets everywhere just fucking going nuts.
That'd be pretty cool.
And then Mick Jagger going like still singing like the show must go on, guys.
Yeah, it's true.
And I, you know what? And I have a feeling that I'm telling you this: if he died on stage, Charlie Watts or whoever, if it's not Mick or Keith, that show is still going on. 2 years from now, they will be going touring again.
But that's the crazy thing about them. Nobody in that band has died. Huh?
No. Brian Jones originally was the guy, the original rhythm guitarist or other guitar player, and he died, and then they replaced him with Mick Taylor.
Yeah.
Who's another phenomenal guy, but I guess he said, "Fuck you guys! You guys are crazy. I'm out of here."
When did they replace him though? Because
they replaced him like in '75.
Yeah, it was within. You know, it's not like a Keith Moon dies in the '80s,
right?
And John Paul Jones
or John Entwistle.
John Entwistle.
Yeah,
like those guys died. Like when. When it's 1990 and it's 2000 and a band member dies, you think, oh, this might be like with Bruce Springsteen when Clarence Clemens died.
Oh yeah,
I was convinced there's no way they're going to tour.
Oh
again.
no, I kind of felt that they would have been like because the reason why I kind of felt that Bruce would have still continued was because he didn't have the E Street Band like later on like in the 90s.
In the 90s,
and he was still touring.
And the crazy thing about him is he doesn't record with the E Street Band, so he only tours with them.
Right.
So he records with session musicians,
right.
Which is weird. I don't completely understand why. But
That's when he was like,
yeah.
He got criticized for that because a lot of people thought that was kind of like insane because like you have a great band.
Yeah, I know. Why do you use session musicians?
Yeah, it was probably cheaper, and the fact that he moved into Bel Air wasn't great either.
Was it? Yeah,
yeah, because here he is. He's like, it's rough out there in that home, my hometown. and I remember hearing on Stern, and they made this great bit about how Bon Jovi and Springsteen have that thing where it's like, we didn't have a whole lot, and it's like. You're like 10 minutes away from New York City. Like how far? You're not really in the fucking boondock. You know what I mean? Like I could tell like maybe John Cougar Mellencamp or whatever his name is now is like, I'm from a small town in Indiana and I'm going to fucking be singing about that, and make a shitload of money. And it's so ironic how they make so much money for talking about a shitty town that they're from or whatever small town they're from.
I mean, I think that I've read a couple articles and books and stuff on Springsteen. I think the one big thing is that sometimes you want the person who can best represent or best write a song about how you're feeling, and that the idea is that he can channel that sort of feeling and understand it and empathize with it better than just getting some plumber from New Jersey who maybe is living the life but can't write a song to save his life.
Right.
It's not like he's running for Congress and trying to convince people that that's who he is. It's more in the sense of like he's a character.
Yeah. I don't know, but like I said, going back with the Stones, it's fun, they're doing 4 shows. I hope that this is it. I hope this is like it probably isn't.
No,
but
it's not.
I mean, it's getting to the point where it's like how I guess they literally have to die on stage for it to go because they're literally.
Well, they can die anywhere, Carlos. They don't need to die on stage.
Oh no!
They can...
if they're to keep touring, trust me. I mean, Ozzy's not even touring anymore. I'm like, I don't think his fucking body. He's
in bad health though.
Yeah,
I think.
Well, that's what I mean. A lot of these guys did not.
Or
take
not
care
great
of.
health.
Yeah, I mean, it's amazing. Keith Richards is still alive. I'm still shocked by that.
But that's why it goes to show, like when you're sitting there obsessing over quitting smoking or things like that, it's like it's kind of a fucking toss.
Yeah, I guess it is.
At a certain point.
Well, guys, it's fun talking music, talking a lot of shit going on here.
That's
just
abrupt segue.
What?
Do you want us to leave? Is there something on? What time is it?
Yeah.
It's almost 10:30. Is there a TV show on at 10:30 you watch?
Well, I don't know. There's a Tosh.0 I have to check out, but you know. I don't know. What you got? Something else to say?
No, I feel uncomfortable being thrown out of your
Yeah.
well, it happens. I'm sorry. I know you had a lot of fun talking about music, talk about old bands. You know?
Why do you say so many facts with such disdain, as though you're like interrogating me? Like, yeah, I had fun talking about music. It was like your fucking idea to talk about music.
No.
I got that as
attacking
I got
me?
that as he was way too excited.
All right.
Yeah,
To
I didn't
be
see the
recapping
negative
this.
thing, Sean.
All right, let's not pick on
That's why we don't have the second column anymore. So okay, it's a lot of reading about there. And by the way, great story.
That was sarcastic.
I'm having trouble reading you.
Really, that
Kyle.
was.
that was
I was
sarcasm.
expecting
Yes.
some kind of a
Yeah.
paranormal type thing, but
What are you
that
talking-
really
like,
was.
That is a real
That really
thing that
was.
happened.
You know,
That
you
was
know
a
what?
shitty story. I mean,
Somebody could be dead.
I think that woman.
Somebody probably is dead.
That woman probably saw the video that Led Zeppelin is going to release a movie of a show that they did 5 years ago, and the
that
shows are
woman's
back, and I think she
battery
got
died.
excited.
She went outside, called a tow truck, and the guy came and jumped her, and then she left.
2 o'clock. Mike, I got to work at 9 a.m. today. I went back to my car at 3 o'clock. So, answer me this. What the fuck
You
happened
realize
between 9
if
and
there was a
3?
murder scene, like the police would have taped it off. They would have been
They
investigating.
didn't know until I called them.
They don't. But it would be
right.
ongoing still now.
But thanks for having us, Carlos. You
yeah.
can follow me on Twitter at Mark Saul.
Hold on a second. I just want to. Can we go around
Check out
the
my
table?
website, markadamsaul.com.
I don't even
Can we
care.
go around
I
the table
don't even
really
care.
quick right now?
Yeah.
And somebody give me a rational thing, a rational excuse for what happened.
I don't-
The woman was an airhead. Left her keys in the car. She probably had a meeting she was nervous about. Left her keys in the car.
I have a feeling.
The
I'm
battery
gonna play
died. That's
called
why the light went off.
Do Like the Kids Do at the AMA Theater. It's in
Oh my
November, and
All right, let's just humor Sean. I'm gonna say that this woman fucking got gangbanged by the Stones. Oh God! I got so excited and left her shit, and then she went back and went home to tell her friends. That's what I think. I honestly don't even care right now. I mean, unless you come up with an update, then I will.
I'll come in with an update. The
Or
first
just
thing I'm going to do
mention-
tomorrow at
don't-
work is call security and ask what happened.
You should have said that in the brain. You should have. That's what you should have said. When you left your work, you should have been like, "What happened?" Like
I didn't know that the car wasn't there. And then I got to my parking spot and the car wasn't there. It was like 8:30. I can't.
All right. Well, I don't have to tell you.
I am disappointed in society that people aren't as nervous or giddy with nervous excitement like I am.
Are you kidding? Because do you actually want a murder to happen at this lady's expense?
I mean, maybe like a murder that nobody was hurt in. So that all
You
the
know what,
excitement
Sean?
of a
I
murder.
saw a guy on a bike,
Oh, well,
like out in
boy.
front of my house.
Another story
today.
Another story.
And then I went back out, and he was gone.
That you cannot equate those two.
It's a
Carlos is putting on his pajamas.
Yeah,
Carlos wants us out
I want
of here.
this. I want this podcast so soon. Oh god.
He's opening
This
the
is the first
door.
time.
Disappointed.
This is the first time I had it. I've barely done 10 shows, and I'm like, oh, when will this end?
I'm disappointed in all of you.
Make a note of this. Only one second column guess at one time. We could not have more than. We could not have two. There's no way it's gonna happen that way. I'm sorry. There's no way.
So I'm not coming back for the Never Reese show?
No. Why was she? No, please. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. But all right. Well, Mark. Let's see. Where can we find you? Please.
On the internet, on Twitter at Mark Saul. You can
Mark
follow
Saul.
me. Yeah, and I'll
And it's
update.
Mark. And it's Mark with a K.
with a K. Yeah,
With a K.
MarkSaul.
Like most. All right, just check it. And you were at this play, right? You
Yeah,
started out-
I'm doing a play.
What's this play? Is this
what's the play, Mark?
Yeah.
It's at the Working Stage Theater in Hollywood on the off Gardner.
Okay.
The play is called Do Like the Kids Do. It's an original play by the I Am a Theater company.
Is there
It's not
any-
the gardener. The gardener.
It's across from the place where you guys did
no
the
way. Cool.
improv. Yeah.
Is there a kid that's about 12 years old with the Led Zeppelin shirt taking acid.
That's
Really?
basically what
Oh,
it's.
okay.
I play him.
It's amazing.
So you finally achieved your dream.
Yeah.
You became that.
I
cool
became
kid.
him, but we had
Good
to write
job,
a
buddy.
play to.
Nice.
Is your movie out right now, or is it coming?
Yeah.
out?
Oh, yeah. I had a movie that was in the San Diego Film Festival, and it won an award.
Wow. Awesome. Best actor,
Yeah, it was,
Mark Saul.
Yeah, best. Right.
Redline,
Yeah, Redline,
which is
what it's
based on
called.
the Red Line in
based
Los
on
Angeles.
also known as the subway.
Yeah.
The light rail.
Light
rail.
Is it going to Netflix, or do you know if it's?
We don't know. I hope it does.
Yeah,
What's
I'm
it
pretty
about?
sure
I'm sorry.
It's about there's a big crash in the subway, and it's sort of a mystery suspense thing.
I'm
It was really
excited
good.
to see it. Actually, I hope it goes to.
I was very
Netflix.
pleased with it.
And
Mark,
probably-
really quick, when
yeah.
the subway crashes, does a guy tell his friends about how the subway crashed and they think it's a bullshit story, or do they get intrigued by the mystery?
It's a little bit different. Sean. It's sort of like
That'd be the worst movie
like
ever.
you know,
if that
if
happened.
a
I'm
tornado came through town, you'd know it. I mean, I don't know.
Oh boy. Well, we'll be definitely be checking those out.
Oh,
The Red
great.
Line.
I'm
and
excited
do what
to
the
see
cuts
that.
do. And please follow Mark at Mark Saul on Twitter. And Sean,
Hey.
where can we find you?
You can find
aside
me.
from nerd. Or is this? I mean, I guess.
Well, there's
Nerd-
a couple. You can find me on Twitter at ThatFoolSean.
Well said. Well said.
Well
Perfect.
said.
Yeah.
You can find me on the podcast Nerdtastic in 3D.
Uh-huh.
You can also find me at ratpageant.com.
Oh yeah, we never even talked
I'm in
about
a
that.
sketch group with my friend Mark Saul.
That's with
That he
me.
failed to mention
Well,
in his.
We done. Funny. I mean, because how long has been in the group? Right. It's been like about.
It's been about 2 years.
Yeah,
Wow,
2
yeah.
years. Yeah. Sean and I, we write sketches, and it's also sort of like the band mentality where we write the stuff and then we just grab people to perform with us and
Mike's been in one of them. Carlos is never.
No, I
going
never
to be
was
part of
invited.
it.
Carlos is
No.
Not talented.
No,
That's
we've
all
been
right.
on the front page of Funny or Die.
Yeah.
Yeah.
With our video Son of the Hulk. And
That was a great one, and I like the also the Harlem Globetrotters sketch was great.
We were on
That's
the
a good one,
front
too.
page of break.com.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
one.
So yeah, like you should. Are you guys doing anything coming up?
We have a new video coming out soon.
We're
that
editing it
right
right
now.
now.
Cool.
Yeah.
And then we're preparing a new stage show for probably early next year.
Nice.
So it takes some time
Can't wait. Definitely.
to put together.
Yeah, definitely come back. We'll
Yeah.
maybe to promote it. And yeah, it's been fun, guys.
Hey.
Yeah, it's only rock and roll, but I like it up to a certain extent.
yeah.
Edit that fucking story out, Mike. Fucking ridiculous.
When we come back on, I'm going to have a crazy story. I'm going to bring the killer.
You know, it'd be funny if there was a fucking murder. We're all like right now, like it'd be crazy, and then we all go, well, who cares?
You're all going for hell. Going to hell.
We'll
for
figure
not
this out.
caring about that
We might be
story.
checking out this in the news, maybe in
Yeah.
the future.
I know.
Let's check.
Uh-huh.
Let's check. All right, we'll see you guys. Well, thank you guys for coming on the show.
Anytime.
And
Thank you.
please, if you have any comments or anything, please follow us on Twitter. Come to your senses and give us a great review on iTunes if you enjoy
that
it. And
sounds
follow us and follow us also on Comedy Podcast Network, where there's definitely a lot of great shows there too, like Furniture and everything else. Okay, all right, guys, thank you again.
All right.
And we're gone.
You have received this transmission from the Comedy Podcast Network. For more shows, visit comedypodcastnetwork.com.